Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lindsay. Today we're going to be doing a demo review wear test of the brand new Kosas product, which is called their Kosas Revealer. As you guessed it, it is a concealer. This video is in partnership with Kosas, so thank you so much to you guys for subscribing and watching me. So I have opportunities to work with amazing brands like Kosas. I'm so excited to be able to review this for you guys when it comes out, so you will know if it's worth your money or if it's something that's going to work for you. Of course, all my opinions are my own. I've been testing these for a couple weeks now, really put them to the test. I'm going to show you guys how they wear, perform, apply, everything you'll need to know. Just keep watching. If you're not already subscribed, I would love to have you, and let's try to get this video to 200 likes. On my last video, I asked for 100 and you guys did a really good job, so thank you for that. I'd love it if you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, but let's get into it. They are the brand new Kosas Revealers. I'm going to be giving you guys all the info about this. I'll also be doing a wear test and demo of them, of course. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with what these claim to do, the ingredients, and we'll move on from there. The description says a concealer like no other, also the tinted face oil's new BFF. This is a medium to full coverage concealer that pairs perfectly with tinted face oil. It's super creamy, soothing formula, actually improves your skin while perfecting it with potent botanicals that give a smooth, radiant complexion in 16 shades for 48 different skin tones. Next, onto the product ingredients and the benefits. It claims to be brightening with caffeine, which reduces puffiness, and pink algae extract, which says it hydrates the skin and fights free radicals with antioxidants. And then it's also soothing with arnica and panthenol. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And then it's plumping with peptides and hyaluronic acid. I love a good makeup product that also has skincare benefits in it, so I'm really excited they included a really nice amount of skincare ingredients, peptides, hyaluronic acid. Sounds good to me so far. I actually do already have on a layer of the tinted face oil, but I'm going to hop into the swatches of these before we actually apply them. I have the shade 2, 3, and 3.5 here. Before we swatch, here's what the packaging looks like. It just comes in a classic little concealer tube with this cool lid. I really like the design of the top of it. I think it's pretty unique. And then it has one of those double-sided like flat concealer brushes that picks up a lot of product. As I was saying, I really love that type of doe foot applicator because you don't have to keep dipping back in. That's really just a hassle. It picks up a ton of product that I've noticed. I have been testing these for past couple weeks so I could really get a feel for them and review for you guys, but I went ahead and swatched them. Here we have the shade 2. Here we have the shade 3, which is very similar, but it's really hard to tell what the undertone of this one is. It looks like it has a little bit more of a yellow to it as compared to 2, and then this is 3.5, which has the most warmth to it. Here are the corresponding shades 2, 3, and 3.5. They look super similar to the tinted face oil shade. They all have the same undertone. The only one I think maybe 3.5, the concealer almost looks like a little bit darker and a tad warmer, but it might just be because it has more pigment to it. That's the only one I really see like a noticeable difference. The other two I feel like match up really well. Let's start applying these. I do have the tinted face oil on. It's really light covered, so you can see I still have a lot of like my redness on my cheeks and my acne scarring and everything kind of still showing through. I'm gonna use this not only under my eyes but also all over my face to show you guys how it performs basically everywhere that you would put it. I'm going to start with the shade 02, sort of like a brightening shade for under my eyes. And I do find that I like to scrape off a little bit of the product because it picks up a lot of product, you guys, and you need the smallest amount of this because it is a medium fuller coverage concealer. Like that much will literally go a very long way. I know a lot of you guys like ask me about the scents of products. They don't really have any scent at all, so you don't have to worry about that. I have tried these a bunch of different ways. Personally, I liked it with a sponge. I've tried a brush and my finger as well. I feel like my finger takes a little bit too much coverage out of it. And the brush, it was pretty good too, but I just feel like with a sponge, you get a really smooth application of it. So you don't really have to be quick when you blend these out because they don't dry down super quickly. And the texture, I've been trying to think of how to describe this texture to you guys because it's a really unique concealer texture. It's almost thick and thin at the same time. I know that doesn't make any sense. So as you can tell, just that small amount really went a long way. I'm taking 3.5 and I'm putting this on anywhere else I need extra coverage. I'm also going to put some on my cheeks because I just want to really cancel out the redness. And I like using this for redness because it is very yellow toned, very warm toned, which helps to cancel out redness. Anyway, as I was trying to describe the texture of this to you guys, it almost reminds me, it's a really flexible feeling concealer and it's also really lightweight on the skin. It kind of reminds me of the First Aid Beauty Avocado Bendy Concealer. If you've ever tried that, it's that same sort of like, it's not super thick, but it's also not really thin. So I feel like it just sits really nicely on the skin. And instead of being so thin that it sinks right into lines or being so thick that it really settles on top of your skin, it just like blends in with your skin, but doesn't settle and looks really natural. It's definitely a unique formula. I haven't really tried a concealer that is like this. Another thing I wanted to point out is with some concealers, I notice when I put them under my eyes, I have to set them immediately or else they really will sink in or crease right away. I was almost like amazed by how like this doesn't even crease on my eyes. And you guys know I usually have problems with my under eyes just creasing or looking cakey. But I would say one of my favorite things about it so far is that when you leave it on your skin without setting it, it doesn't immediately like just act weird. It looks really nice. So here is what the concealer looks like under my eyes, and then the other areas that I put it. It has a satin finish to it, but it's not super dewy or oily looking. It just feels like a really nice lightweight concealer that doesn't look matte or dry or cakey. I've really been putting these concealers to the test. Like I've worn them every day since I've got them, days that I wear makeup on. I go ahead and apply even more just to show you guys how buildable it is. I feel like with a light application, it's on that like fuller end of medium. I wouldn't really call it super full coverage, especially when you use a sponge with it. It kind of docks that down a little bit. But it's definitely, I think it's the perfect, like, it's the perfect weight and coverage for every day. It's not too heavy. It's not like it's not like a heavy duty full coverage concealer. So I think even if you like full coverage or if you like light coverage, I think you would like this concealer because I think you can just use it however you want. A little bit is obviously going to give you lighter coverage, or you can do like I'm doing, which is really building it up. Like, I don't know if you guys can see, but usually I have like creases under my eyes when I apply a concealer and don't set it, but it doesn't crease. I love that part about it. I'm essentially just using this as a foundation now to show you guys what it looks like, which I actually have done before. When I was testing these out previously, like since I've got them, I've literally tried them every possible way I could think to really get a feel for how they work and perform on my skin. I really turned on the lights so you can see better what it looks like in the finish of it. And it is a little bit of a satin finish. Keep in mind I do have the tinted face oil on as well. But I'm trying to show you guys like under my eyes. Like it's in the creases of my eyes because it's just the natural fold, like, but it's not like settling into the little fine lines I have in the inner corners of my eyes. You can even kind of tell in my eyelids, like it is a little bit in those creases, but it doesn't immediately just sink down into everything. Next, I'm going to set with my Ilia Soft Focus Finishing Powder. I'm going to use this because I'm so familiar with this powder and how it works with products. I'm going to set it very lightly just so we can get most of the concealer performance in the wear test and not just like the powder. Before I set, I am just going to smooth it out one more time, make sure everything's blended in. And I'm using a Real Techniques setting brush with that powder. I set down the rest of my face with that Ilia powder as well, so here's a closer look at how everything looks like when it is set. As you can tell, I still like have a little bit of redness in my cheeks, but that's like so pigmented, so the concealer didn't totally cover the redness. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of my face. For bronzer, I'm using the Cover FX Monochromatic Bronzer Duo. This is the shade Sunkissed Bronze. I'm going to mix both of these. Next for blush, I'm just using a little bit of the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Blush. And then for highlight, the Honest Beauty, this is the Midnight Reflection Luminizing Glow Powder. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup off camera and I'll be back. Here is our finished face. I'm going to wear this until the end of the day and I will check in then to show you guys how it held up and if I have anything to critique about it. I will see you guys then. Alright guys, I'm back. It's around 8:50 now. I know I forgot to check in before, but it was around 12 o'clock. So the concealer's been on around 9 hours. So just noticing, of course I've tested this before, so I kind of knew what to expect. I do get creasing. I'll have to zoom you guys in or like insert a close-up here. I do get creasing, like it just settles into my lines a tiny bit. It's not the most creasy concealer I've tried, but it's also not like completely creaseless, so I thought that was something I would mention. And other than that, I think it does last a pretty good amount of time. The one thing I would say is when I had dry patches with this, it didn't look the best. So make sure you're really exfoliated if you do have dry skin and want to use this concealer. If you don't have dry patches and you're more normal to oily skin, just make sure you moisturize, and I think this will work out pretty well for you. The one thing I also wanted to mention is really be aware of the amount of product that you use, because I noticed when I use a lot of this, it doesn't really look cakey. It just starts to look a little bit noticeable on the skin. It doesn't really cake up necessarily, but it's definitely more noticeable when you use a lot of it. And I also notice I do get more creasing under the eyes when I use more of it. So like I said, a little goes a long way, and you'll probably get the best result just using less. In terms of blemishes, I think the concealer works really well. Again, as long as you don't have sort of dry skin around it, because I feel like it accentuates it a tiny bit. But it lays nicely. I don't think it like draws too much attention. It kind of just sits smoothly and evenly over the skin. And yeah, that was about all I wanted to wrap up for you guys. So overall, less is more. I think it is a nice concealer. If you have maybe like really mature skin, or your under eyes are a concern of yours where you have just fine lines, you feel like concealer settles a little bit, maybe this wouldn't be the best for under your eyes. Alright guys, that's it for my review, demo, wear test of the brand new Kosas Revealer. I really hope you found this video helpful. If you did, again, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I also have a couple other videos on Kosas products. I have a couple videos on their tinted face oil, and I have a full face of Kosas as well. I will link those in the info card if you're interested in seeing more about the brand. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.